Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you're expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? It's the go-getter energy that moves anyone out there, yes, including you, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one show. There's a book and this masterclass right here that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to make a living online. Somebody asked me about this on Instagram. Somebody had I had posted something on IG, somebody left a comment to the post, and they were saying, hey, could you talk about how to make a living online? And I actually did a live stream on Instagram that same day of these exact points that I'm going to give you here today. But I wanted to put this here on the Work on Your Game audio masterclass experience because it was such a great presentation that I did. And I want to show y'all, I want to show everyone on that live and here that I don't need a month or a week to come up with a concept. I can come up with a concept in 5 minutes, and it's going to be better than something that somebody else spent all day trying to figure out. Let me give you a disclaimer on this making a living online thing. First of all, before I even get into that, my background online is that I started creating content, publishing a blog back in 2005. That was my first foray onto the internet. Then I put my first video on YouTube in 2006. Did both of those things for a while. Then around 2009, 2010, I started creating products that were related to playing basketball and started selling those online. That's when I officially became an entrepreneur, creating and selling products from scratch. And when I started doing that, I realized this would be more valuable to me than even playing basketball, simply because basketball at some point is going to end. But selling products on the internet, I could do this forever. As long as I'm alive, I can sell products online. Even when I'm not, I can just leave the instructions for somebody else to sell products online. So that's why I got so excited about being able to make money through the internet. And it didn't depend on a basketball team or a coach or anybody deciding I was good enough to be on their team. So I knew this was going to give me power. Now, all that being said, the disclaimer here is what I'm going to share with you here today is just one way to make money online. All right, this is not the only way to make money online. But I'm going to explain to you a path to make money online via thought leadership. In other words, selling your intellectual property, which means the things that you know, the knowledge that you have in your head, packaged and organized in such a way that someone else can learn and benefit from it through their application is going to be taught by you. Okay, so this is just one way to make money online. There are plenty of other ways to make money online that I'm not going to discuss because I don't do them. Therefore, I wouldn't be qualified to teach them, such as you can invest in a business that already exists. You could become a drop shipper. You could sell Amazon products. You could be a graphic designer for other people's websites. These are all ways you can make money on the internet. What I'm going to talk about here today is the way that I did it. I'm going to give you the framework for how I did it via thought leadership and selling your intellectual property. Everybody got that? Good. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is how to make a living online. First things first, I want you to understand something. I want to make sure I'm making this 100% clear that this is still a job. It's a job, and you're going to be expected to show up and do your job consistently all the time. Just because it's the internet does not mean that it's sweet. Okay? Masterclass number 1105. The topic is what makes the job a job. All right, being that it's a job, and one of the things I talked about in Masterclass 1105, you still got to show up every day and do the work. Just because it's the internet doesn't mean there's no work. Okay? There's still work. You might not have to travel to an office or put on a suit, but you still got to do the work. Every single day, there will still be a whole lot required of you, and it may be harder than you think. All right, it's not all fun and games just because it's the internet. I don't care if you're doing Instagram. I don't care if you're YouTubing, if you're podcasting, if you're blogging. It could be something that you really love doing. You really enjoy it. Just because you enjoy it doesn't mean it's not going to be work. Okay? You still have to show up every time and do the job. You still have to have a boss. Okay? And you might be the boss. Malcolm X said, every organization must have a boss. Even if it's you by yourself, you got to be the boss of yourself. You got to hold yourself accountable and be your own boss, even though nobody is looking over your shoulder, even though nobody is watching you. Nobody's going to call you out if you don't show up to work. This is the hardest part of making a living online, is that at least when you start out, it'll just be you. There's no one who can hold you accountable, no one who can tell you anything, nobody who can say, hey, you need to get this done. Nobody can force you to work when you don't feel like working. Nobody's going to check on you to see if you're working or if you're not working. You got to be the one doing all those things for yourself. Do you have the discipline to do that? This is not a rhetorical question. I'm giving you the question, but it's not rhetorical when you ask yourself. Do you have the discipline to hold yourself accountable and treat your online business like a real business, both before it becomes a business and while you're in the process, and making sure that you show up and actually do your job like anybody else would do at any other kind of job or any job that you've had in your life if it hasn't been online? This is the hardest part of running a business online. Trust me, I've talked to thousands of online entrepreneurs. So I know the challenges that many of them have is that they just don't have the discipline. There's no consistency in their efforts. They won't have a schedule. They are not holding themselves accountable to certain things. They're forcing themselves to try to do things that they should not be doing. These are all the things that people do when they're working online, not because they're dumb, not because they don't know what to do, not because they can't get access to the right information, simply because there is no one holding them accountable. Many human beings only do what they're supposed to do when they're being held accountable by somebody outside of themselves. The highest level of discipline is when you can hold yourself accountable to yourself, even though nobody else is watching, nobody else knows about it. Can you do this? No office space, no time clock, and all the distractions. I mean, look at your smartphone right now. How many apps do you have on that phone that do nothing but basically distract you from what you're supposed to be doing? How many? All right, you can't even count them all, right? You got all of that to deal with. Nobody looking over your shoulder. You don't have to go anywhere, and there's no clock to punch. Can you be disciplined still? I can't answer that question, but you better answer it. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to make a living online. Now that we got it clear that this is a job, I want you to understand something, that the online space is a huge, wide ocean. It's like the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, whichever one's bigger. Probably the Pacific Ocean. Where do you want to swim? In such a huge ocean, you got to choose where you're going to swim. Let me give you some questions that you need to ask yourself so that you can help narrow down where you're going to swim in this big ocean called the internet. Who do you want to help? This is the most important question right here. Instead of asking yourself, what area am I good at? Because I used to tell people, hey, well, figure out what your area of expertise is. So your area of expertise is basketball. All right, so I'm going to do basketball stuff. Well, that's just an area of expertise. That doesn't really help anybody if you just say my area of expertise is I know basketball really well. Well, so do a lot of people. And even if you do know it really well, who are you trying to help? You can't help any individual person if you don't know exactly who you're trying to help and exactly what you're going to do to help that person out. So the better question to ask, rather than what's your area of expertise, is who do you want to help? So for example, when I wrote my book, The Overseas Basketball Blueprint, who is that book for? If anybody asks me, I say it's for the basketball player who wants to play professional ball, travel the world, and get paid to play basketball, traveling the world overseas. All right, the book is for anybody who wants to play professional basketball. That's who the book is for. Now, I can get more detailed than that, but I could just say that because it is the first and only guidebook for people who want to play pro basketball overseas. So the question is, who do you want to help? For my book, Work on Your Game, I'll give you another example. I wrote this book because the Overseas Blueprint is very specific to a specific target audience. What if your book, the title of the book isn't so specific? How can you still make it for a specific person? I'll use my book, Work on Your Game, for this. This show, Work on Your Game, could be synonymous with the book. Here it is. It's for 3 types of people. Number 1, person who feels like they have no game. All right, they know they need game, but they have no game. And the second type of person who feels like they have game, but when it's time for them to show their game, they're not showing it the way that it needs to be shown. Therefore, they're not getting the right amount of recognition or return on investment for their game because they're just not showing their game fully the way it needs to be seen. The third type of person is the person who feels like you have game and you feel like you are showing it right, but nobody's recognizing you. You're just not getting the recognition. So 3 types of people. You have no game, you are not showing your game, or nobody's recognizing your game. If you're one of these 3 types of people, you need to read this book, Work on Your Game. See how that works? I'm making it very clear who the book is for. You got to make it very clear. You want to make a living online, who do you want to help? Because there are too many people for you to say this will help anybody. Now, my book, Work on Your Game, would that book help anybody? Yes, it would help anybody. But if I just say this book is for anybody, then the book is really for nobody, because I'm not speaking specifically to any one person. All of you have to remember, if you're going to get in sales, human beings are selfish. We are only focused on ourselves. We are not focused on being one of anybody. Or somebody walks in the room and says, this is for anybody. Nobody's interested in that because I don't want to be grouped with everybody else. I want you to talk specifically to me. So somebody said this book is for podcasters who also write books, who have online businesses, and they put out their show every day. I say, all right, well, that's me. What is it? What is it? Let me see what else. Let me find out some more about that. I'm at least interested. You at least pique my interest. But if you say this book is for anybody, then I'm just like, it's for anybody? Okay, I'm not anybody. I'm exceptional. I'm different. I'm better than the average. All right, don't lump me in with everybody else. And guess what? Everybody else thinks that too. So if you're saying something's for anybody, you are talking literally to nobody. Who do you want to help? Get specific on who you want to help. Second question, how do you want to help them? Now you got my attention that what you're offering, I'm in that group. Now, how are you actually going to help me? What are you going to help me do? What change are you going to help me achieve? These are the questions. From my book, The Overseas Basketball Blueprint, I want to help the player who wants to play professional basketball. How am I going to help them? I'm going to lay out a clear strategy and path for you to get from where you are to actually being signed to a pro basketball contract and getting paid to play basketball. What change am I going to help you achieve? I'm going to help you stop feeling like you are wasting your talent or feel like you're being overlooked and underrated and not able to utilize all your skills on that basketball court because now somebody's going to be paying you to do exactly that. You must answer these questions, ladies and gentlemen. If you can answer these questions, you can use this for online business or offline business, anything you want to do in life. Who do you want to help? How do you want to help them? What change are you going to help them achieve? These questions are imperative. It is imperative that these questions be answered. And they are much better than merely choosing an area of expertise, which I said a moment ago, which will still leave you with the same questions and you will still be lost as to what to do. So if you say my area of expertise is I make water bottles, biodegradable glass water bottles. Okay, that's great. That's your area of expertise. All right, who do you want to help? So you still got to answer the same question. Who is this water bottle for? Now, doesn't everybody need a water bottle? Doesn't everybody need to drink water? Everybody, literally everybody needs to drink water. That doesn't mean the bottle's for everybody. Who is the bottle for? You want to get some kind of specific as to who the bottle is for because you want to be talking to somebody. And just because you determine and lay out a target audience doesn't mean people from outside of that audience won't still buy your stuff. But you need to get specific as to who this thing is for because somebody who may not be in the category yet may say, you know what, I want to be in that category, so I'm going to get it because I want to get there. So for example, if I wrote a book for pro basketball player, I said this book is for players who are already signed to pro basketball contracts. Somebody who wants to get signed, they have never signed a contract before. They might buy the book anyway because they're like, well, I'm going to sign one, so I'm going to get it now anyway. So I got the information ahead of time. All right, you can do that too. So you can get ahead of an audience. And maybe somebody who already played and signed a contract, now they're retired, they might read it too. Let me see what this guy's talking about. What does this for pro basketball players? I used to be one. Let me see what it's about. So you see how you can, by targeting in a specific area, you can get people who are around that area to be interested too, just because they either want to be that thing or they used to be that thing, or maybe they're just interested in that thing. Who knows? Whatever reason. Again, my book, Work on Your Game. People who have no game but want to develop more. Somebody who has game but wants to develop more might want to read the book. They're like, all right, well, I don't have no game. I have some game. I just want to develop more game. So this book is going to help people develop more game or develop game, period. Let me buy it. Maybe it'll be something in there for me. So you see how when you get targeted, not only are you targeting the people who are specific to what you're saying, but also anyone who may be close to it or around it, they're going to be interested. If I wrote a book for, all right, this book is for anybody who lives in Tampa Bay, Florida, who wants to start a business. Somebody who lives in Tallahassee or Orlando or Miami, they might buy the book. They're like, all right, it's for people who live in Tampa. All right, some of the principles got to apply in Miami. Some of them got to apply in Orlando. These principles got to apply in Jacksonville. Let me buy it and let me see what's going on. So you see how that works. It's imperative that you answer these questions. Who, how, and what about your target audience. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to make a living online. All right, now that you have figured out, you understand this is a job, you understand the who, how, and what of getting yourself out there, here's the third thing you got to do. You got to get yourself seen. You got to draw some attention. The internet is a huge space, as I told you. It's the ocean. How are you going to reach your target group? All right, now you know who your target group is. Now the question is, how do I get in touch with these people? You got to find out where they are. All right, where's the mix? Where is it going on? You got to be where it's at, right? That's what you got to do in life. If you want to know what's going on, you got to go to where it's at. I told you about this in masterclass number 194. The topic, go to where it's at. Masterclass number 1289, how to be where it's at. If you want to be seen, heard, and known, you got to go to the places where people are looking, hearing, and knowing, or where people are connecting. You got to be in those places. You cannot create something and think that just because you built a better mousetrap that everybody's going to show up. All right, in the movie Field of Dreams, they said, if you build it, they will come. That only works in the movies, or only works in Disney. That does not work in real life. In real life, you create something amazing. It's only amazing when you get in the hands of other people and they get amazing results. If you can't get in other people's hands, probably because you can't get their attention. If what you created is actually amazing. You created something great, but nobody's gotten great results, it's probably because you haven't gotten into people's hands, or you're lying about how amazing it actually is. Where are those people at? You got to get their attention. So that may mean you run advertising campaigns. Maybe it means you get on other people's platforms. Maybe it means you create content around that certain area so that you get found on Google or in some kind of search. Content, a great thing about creating content as opposed to trying to get on other people's shows and platforms or running advertisements, is that you don't have to get anyone's permission and you don't have to spend any of your own money. You're just spending your time and you're spending your intellectual property. You are spending your knowledge capital in order to draw people's attention in. So when you put out a podcast episode every day, anyone who may be searching for certain things is going to come around you simply because you're talking about something that they're interested in. It didn't cost you any money to get their attention. All you did was just put your knowledge out there, your intellectual property out there. Now you're drawing people in with that content. This is why so many people invest so much time and effort into SEO, search engine optimization. They want to get found when people search for them, not because they're running ads, but because they created content that answers the question. So if you go and Google how do I create a new page in WordPress, because you don't know how to do it, and you Google that, somebody who wrote an article, how to create a new page in WordPress, you're going to find them. And now you might subscribe to their blog, or you might sign up for their course simply because you found them through a search engine. They optimize themselves to get found on search engines. Now they make money from it because they created some valuable, useful content. And I want you to understand, when it comes to content, Google's web crawlers, those are the things that go around the internet and see what everybody's web pages and sites and content is about. They are getting smarter and smarter by the day. So it used to be easy to game the system. You could create some bullshit and make it seem like that is about a certain piece of content or a certain answer is a certain question, but it really doesn't, and you can get away with it. Every day that's getting harder and harder to do. Where you actually have to have these days some quality content, high level quality content that can be indexed. Written word is easier to index than the spoken word, at least as of today when I'm recording this. That's going to change moving forward. Eventually Google will be able to listen to audio. They'll be able to listen to this audio file right here and know every single word that I'm saying. And if somebody Googles a word that I'm saying, they'll be able to identify that, oh, Dre talked about that here on this podcast episode. They won't just be going off the title, but off of every single word that I've spoken. Can you imagine how powerful that's going to be? For those of you who create a lot of content, that's going to be huge. But I'm digressing from the point here. Content is 100% under your control. It doesn't cost you money to create content unless you hire somebody to create it for you. All you're doing is investing your time and your intellectual property to get people to notice who you are. That can help you get seen if you create enough content and high enough quality content. Point number 4. Today's topic is how to make a living online. Do you notice how everything that I've talked about here so far, we're on the 4th point. Everything I've talked about here is necessary. First of all, understanding that this is a job. It is not going to be a sweet walk just because it's the internet. Understanding that you have to figure out who you're going to help, how you're going to help them, what change you're going to help them achieve. That you do have to figure out how you're going to get yourself seen, because there are too many people out here trying to get seen, and that you can't just stand around and hope people find you. Notice we talked about all these things and we haven't said a damn thing about money yet. And the topic is how to make a living online. The topic is how to make a living, meaning enough money to live off of online. I've gone through all of this. I haven't said anything about money yet. Anybody notice that? Because that's what making a living means, right? So here's where your content will help you. Because if you're creating content that is quality stuff, it's reaching the right people, and you are helping people through the content. I mean, that's stuff that you put out for free. Doesn't cost them anything to access it. If you're helping people with that stuff, they will begin to tell you and ask you through their communications how you can help them further. For example, when I was 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, putting videos out on YouTube, a lot of basketball stuff, players would ask me all kinds of questions every single day. We had all kinds of questions. Every question that I received was somebody telling me, here's how you can help me more, Dre. Here's the problem that I'm dealing with now. All right, you solved this problem with this video, but now I got this problem. Here's where my frustration is. Here's what my pain is. Here's the mistake that I find myself making. Here's the hump that I can't quite get over. Here's the situation that I have no idea what the solution is to this. All of those questions and comments and challenges that people were sharing with me, what were they doing? They were letting me know how I could help them next. I already helped them with this. I know I helped them because that's why they're watching now. That's why they're paying attention now. That's why they're listening now. Now they're letting me know how I can help them next. Because what y'all got to understand about people is that, you're a person. We never solve every problem. Nobody's life is ever perfect. None of us ever gets to the point where we have no problems whatsoever. People will always tell you and ask you how you can help them more if you learn to pay attention. My basketball content led to me making programs. My mindset content led to me speaking, coaching, and writing books. You notice how I went from the free stuff to the paid stuff. I was putting free videos on YouTube that led to me selling programs that people happily bought because they knew I could help them through the content I was putting out for free. Through the content I was putting out free, somebody said, well, why don't you talk about mindset? How are you always so motivated to come to the gym every day? This is basketball players. I said, all right, I'll make a weekly motivation video. Every Monday I made a mindset video. And somebody said, well, Dre, you got these programs, you call them Hoop Handbook. Why don't you write a book called The Mental Handbook? You always talking about mindset. I said, great, I wrote The Mental Handbook. It's part of the 4-book Bulletproof Bundle to this day. And guess who was the first people to buy the Bulletproof Bundle? Basketball players who were watching me on the basketball court because they understood the mental component to playing sports. They said, Dre, I see you got the skill part down, and I'm learning the skill part from you, but the mindset part is my challenge, Dre. What about that? 4-book Bulletproof Bundle. You can buy that. So you see how those all connect? So the question that you have to ask yourself is, or the question that your audience will ask you, if you pay attention and read between the lines of what they're saying, they're telling you right there, what's the next thing they're going to need? What's the next step from here? There's always a next step, ladies and gentlemen. There's always another level to get to. Not everybody wants to go to the next step or the next level, but some people will. So you need to make sure that you are prepared as the salesperson, as the person who is taking care of your audience. What's the next step? All right, the next step is this. The next step is this. A middle school basketball player, some of them want to go play in high school. Not all of them, but some of them are going to play in high school. Some of the high school players are going to play in college. Some of the college players are going to play pro. Not everybody from middle school is going to make it to the pro level, but some of them will. So you need to make sure you got whatever is the next thing for them. That's your job as the expert. How do you take initiative on this information? Instead of waiting for them to come to you with questions and comments and concerns, you take initiative by asking your members of your audience. This is what you do. Ask them if you can talk to them. Ask them if you can interview them, because you want to find out what their needs are, their problems, and where they want to go and how you can help them. People will gladly share this information with you. Why? I'm going to tell you one reason why people will gladly oblige when you ask if you can interview some people in your audience to find out how you can best help them. The reason they're going to say yes is because you are offering them an opportunity to talk about their favorite subject, which is themselves. You offer people a chance to talk about themselves, they will take it. All right, nobody's going to turn it down. Well, let's not say nobody. 99% of people will take it, 1% will turn it down. Okay, so if one person tells you no, I don't want to talk about myself, the next 99 people you ask will say yes. And they'll tell you exactly what they need. Now, your job then, from them letting you know what they need, is to figure out how you can get that to them. And they'll give you whatever you want if you give them what they want. Paraphrasing Zig Ziglar. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to make a living online. Somebody asked me about this online on Instagram. They asked me, can you talk about how to make a living online? I did it. Now I'm giving it to y'all here, so to make sure that I'm on the record with it. Disclaimer, what I'm sharing here today is only one way to make money online via thought leadership. There are 1,000 other ways to do it. I'm just telling you about one. Point number one. First things first, remember that this is still a job. It is not all fun and games just because it's the internet. Point number two. Online is a huge space. It's a wide ocean. So where do you want to swim? Answer 3 questions. Number 1, who do you want to help? Number 2, how do you want to help them? Number 3, what change will you help them achieve? These are imperative questions that must be answered. Number 3, get yourself seen. Internet is a big space. How are you going to reach your target group? How are you even going to find them? You got to notice where they are. You got to get their attention. And creating content is one of the best ways to do this. It has a long tail, meaning content lasts a very long time. It doesn't come and go like an advertisement or a joint venture. And when you create enough of the right content, people will be coming straight to you without you having to do any of those other things. And when people are engaging with your content, they'll tell you exactly what they need moving forward. Point number 4. Notice how we talked about all these things and we didn't even get the money yet. And that's what making a living is about, right? So here's where your content helps. When your content's reaching the right people, they will tell and ask you how you can help them even more. My basketball content led to making programs. Mindset content led to speaking, coaching, and writing books. How do you take initiative on this? Ask the members of your audience if you can talk to them and interview them one-on-one and find out their needs, their problems, and where they want to go. They will tell you exactly what they need and exactly what they want. You just got to pay attention. Work on your game. Dre all day.